You are here on purpose, with a purpose by design and not by default. And it is your time right now to share your story on Right Now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Right Now, an author's platform. And I am so excited because in studio with me today is the most amazing woman, apostle, minister, mother, coach, speaker, author, owner of publishing company. OMG, this woman who is also my friend is in the house with me. Apostle Deborah, woo! Welcome today, and welcome to everybody that is here. You are about to get blessed. Get your pen, get your paper, because there is gonna be some golden nuggets dropping today from this woman. She can't help it, as Les Brown says. She can't help it. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you, Apostle Deborah, my friend, for being here. Now, tell everybody, who are you?
Hi, Dr. Pamela. I am definitely your friend. And so we are excited to be together on today. I am an author, coach, speaker, and publisher. And so it's easy to just throw that out there. I am also a pastor and leader. I own Igniting the Flame Publishing, as well as Visionary Coaching and Consulting Group, LLC, and Deborah Allen Ministries. And so it's amazing to be here with you on today. Oh, I am the host of Fierce TV on Dominion TV Network, as well as the Fierce Ignition and Activation Show on Envision Radio.
Woo, 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 woo. All right, what else?
I think that's it. I try to make it real concise.
There's nothing this woman doesn't do. And I'll tell you what, she does all of it with such excellence. It's amazing. So now you are an apostle. So share a little bit about that with people that might not understand what that means. They maybe have heard of the word apostle, but they just think of that guy named Paul. Yeah. So could you explain what that means to those that are curious?
I would say that I am an ordained bishop. And normally bishops are people that are over churches. They tend to be over leadership and things like that. I have been in the ministry now for over 30 years. And so I am an ordained bishop and an affirmed apostle. And that means that leadership, we oversee churches, we teach, we instruct, we correct, and do things like that. And then as an apostle, they tend to travel. They tend to help plant ministries. I coach leaders, pastors, apostles, prophets, and different people. And I am like their check. I am like a spiritual mom in the fact that we oversee and we make sure things are flowing. We give instructions, guidance, help, training, and things like that. But the whole purpose of an apostle is to be in motion, is to be training, is to be planning the gospel, to help it spread, to help it move and move throughout the entire world, which I am able to do through writing, speaking, coaching, and church. So that is an apostle, someone that plants, someone that enlarges the gospel.
I love how you said that. Someone that plants, someone that enlarges, someone that plows. They do that beginning work, right? Like if there's something that needs to get started, now come on, you all heard her list of things that she does. That's because she is an apostle. They start things and they keep things going, but especially start things. They plow the way. When you called me up, I was like, hey, I'm gonna, start this publishing company. You did that from the ground up. You just picked it up and ran with it. And people with your anointing, your talent, and your anointing are the ones that can do that. Other people would go, what, huh? But you just picked it up and ran with it. And that is so exciting. And so in a little bit, I want you to talk about your publishing company, but let's take a look at how did you get to where you are at now? You have all these books that you have been a visionary of, that you have been the author of, that you've been involved in. You came out of working in childcare and started stepping into these other arenas. Like that's a huge, like childcare, and then over here into you've made some major shifts and changes, but you've been successful with them all, and still along the way pastoring alongside with your husband. It's pretty amazing. So take us on a little journey of Apostle Deborah. I'm so curious to hear your whole story.
I think it's process. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a product of the inner city of St. Louis, Missouri. I am the oldest of 5 children. I actually was a teenage mom, which many people do not know. I was called into ministry when I was younger, when I was a child. I have been a prophet since then. I didn't understand it though, right? I used to think that God was my imaginary friend because I was so young. I was like 5, 6, and God would talk to me. My mother said I would pray and prophesy and speak words of wisdom, but I was a child. And I used to think when I was younger that I had an imaginary friend, right? I really did. I thought I didn't understand the concept of God. And so I thought this was my imaginary friend, but it has been a friend that has been with me for 45 years that I've heard. And so I went through a family, I would say that dysfunctional. And when you raised in dysfunction and chaos, it can breed a lot of things. But yet God sustained me. I knew I had call of God on my life, but as a teenager, I didn't want it. I didn't want the responsibility. I wanted to be like other people. In the 80s, it was cool to do the things that you did. They didn't really teach us a lot of things. And so I want to say that to parents, you should teach your children abstinence. You should teach your children to keep themselves, because it's not a conversation we have. And then when your parents are moving around and doing different things, things happen. And so I really believe nobody really told me you should keep yourself for God. You should wait for marriage. It was kind of loose, I would say, in the 80s. No judgment, fact, right? That was that time where it was just structure was not where it needed to be. My mom dealt with mental illness. Oh my gosh, 40 years of my life. And so I kind of shifted away from God. I was a mother young, which I never told anybody to in my 40s, but I was a teenage mother. But God gave me the ability to endure some stuff. I went through some things. I was a mother in high school, and my mom did not take care of my son. That was a battle in itself. But I finished high school. It wasn't easy. I did. I went to college. I actually came out of the medical profession. When I married my husband 25 years ago, Apostle Allen started a child care center. And so we became owner, and I became the director. I had the most education, so I went back for early childhood, and that's what I did for a decade. I made about 2.5 million in child care. But when you don't build correctly, when you don't take your mind to the next level, because you can advance, but you can't be if you're not building with the right people. If you're not walking this thing out right, you can be blessed but can't handle it. It's seasons. God can give it to you, but you are not prepared to handle it. And I made millions from my 20s to my late 30s to 40. I'm 50 now. And so, but I wasn't ready to handle that. I didn't build my mind. I didn't build my surroundings. I didn't build the right network. I didn't build the support that I needed. I made all this money, but I was top heavy. I had a lot of land. I have a lot of overhead. And I didn't understand that overhead can eat everything. And so I would say that Burnt out, got tired. I did get tired. Frustrated because you got to build right. Your tribe is everything. Who you're talking to, who's speaking into your life. If you the person that make the biggest money in the room, if you make the most money around the people around you, you're in the wrong room.
Right.
You're in the wrong room. And so I had to reinvent myself. I went back to corporate America, and I went back to corporate America for about 7 years. I tried to stay, it just didn't work. And so in 2018, I started writing. My first book is Fierce by prophetess Deborah Allen. That is my pen name. It's still my pen name today, though my titles have shifted, but it's my pen name. And so I would say uh, in my 40s, mid 40s, I had to figure out who I was. I had to understand what I really wanted, because a lot of my life was in ministry. I came back to God in my late teenage years. For the last 31, 32 years, I stayed. I shifted off about 4 or 5 years though, Dr. Pam. I got off track. You can get off course and God will not throw you away. You may have to pay the consequences. I paid consequences for being a teenage mother. I made my life hard. I went through some really difficult things in my life, but it was not God's fault as well. It was some of the fruit that I bared. The things that I did, I reaped the fruit of it, right? I made life hard. And I remember being angry about God and saying, I've been a mother since I was a teenager. Life is hard. And God was like, wait a minute. You stepped out and did things I never told you to do. You have to own that. And so I do want people that hear this to say, sometimes we make our life hard. I'm just saying. Being born in a dysfunctional family, that was my choice. Being molested as a child, that wasn't my choice. But I did have some part that I played in not waiting on God, right?
Right.
Don't be pulled off track. Some of us know that there is a call upon our lives, but we don't want to pay the cost. I wanted to be like everybody else. Everybody else was doing it, though I knew I was not like them, Dr. Pamela. But, right? And so God reshifted me. I came back at 19, and from 19 to 50, I'm running for Jesus. I started as a teacher in the gospel in children's church. I started, and so I started there. I am an evangelist. I am a prophet. I walk in the office of a prophet. The office is different from just being a prophet, but the office carry authority. Come on, somebody. And so some of us have authority upon our life that we can speak, that we can decree and do the things that God wants done in the earth. But we have to be in the right position. And so I think that's a whole lot to grasp.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Can I circle back to a couple of things that you said they were really, they were so good. I want to start back at abstinence, because you were saying, hey, parents, talk to your kids about this. And you know what? I'm a child of the 80s myself. Big hair, flash dance, you know, all of that, right? Right. But there was things that just really weren't discussed. Now, I had friends whose families did discuss it, right? And I was told, be a good girl and don't, but there was never a discussion around it. And when you said, hey, parents, talk to your kids about being abstinent and about keeping themselves, I'm like, that is a huge topic that we could camp on the whole time. What brings that up in your heart, and what do you say to that mom or that dad or that big sister or whoever that guardian is that's listening and watching right now and going, I really want to have that conversation, but I don't know how do I do that and not sound religious? How do I do that and not sound like naughty? How do I have this conversation and have it sound like it's a win, because like you said, everybody else is doing it?
It's not good. I have 6 children from the age of 34 down to the age of 9. I always tell people, and I told my children, do not do what I have done, because children change everything. I was not a teenage mother that my mother took care of my son. My mother struggled with mental illness. She could not, right? She could not.
Right.
We need to let our children know, wait, sex is overrated. I tell my children, if it's not the right person, it is overrated. You are bringing a lot of things into your life that is not necessary. You are really doing a lot of damage to you young. I believe abstinence is important because you need to know who you are. You need to know what you want, what you like, who you are meant to be. And I say abstinence is necessary because I was a teenager, then I was a mother. I did not become a woman to my 20s. I didn't know who I was all those years because I never grew up the way I needed to. So I skipped some key developmental years because I went from being a teenager to a mom.
Yeah.
Trying to make it to school, getting on buses, going to the doctor, kid in a hospital. How do you do homework? How you can't go to the school dance? Come on, you got a kid at home. You can't do it. Limits your life. Never am I saying he was a mistake because my oldest son, we grew up together. I'm not saying that, but
Right.
you don't have to do that. I had to give up some things. Was always highly intelligent. I was going to be a Navy officer. I did not go to the Navy Academy, though I had the grades, though I graduated top of my classes, but I couldn't leave this kid with my mama. I'm just saying, y'all, abstinence is important. You don't know what you want. You don't know who you are. People do not value, you're a child. You have no sense. You're not going to stay in love at 14, 15, 16. I know it seems like it's forever. It is not. It will pass. And so you got to grow up. I think and keeping your body. We lose ourselves in other people. And I went through 8 years. My first marriage was very broken. I was broken. And so the relationship I got in was broken. I knew I shouldn't have got married. God told me that I had fallen from grace. God was still talking to me. But did I listen? No. God say, see, listen.
Yeah.
Keep your body. Know who you are. Know what you want. Live your dreams.
Apostle, you said that you needed to find yourself because you gave yourself and you gave your body away. And that equated in many ways to you not finding yourself, you ending up going from a kid to a mom overnight, even though, well, not overnight, but you know what I mean, but quickly. And now you couldn't be a kid, even though you were wired to still be a kid. Now you couldn't be a kid. And there's a lot of things that you missed out on, developmental things that you couldn't do or you didn't do. And even ending up in a wrong marriage. And I feel like you are drawing a line back to saying you're not blaming that you weren't abstinent, right? And you said, my son is a blessing. And I always say babies are a blessing. Any way that they come, babies, kids are a blessing, right? But you are definitely making a connection here, saying, listen, when you don't save yourself, keep yourself in this arena until it's with the person that you're supposed to be with, your spouse, right? That it's not about being good enough. It's not about being holy enough. It's not about being religious enough. You're saying that you're like chipping away at the inside of who you are, which you said inhibited you from fulfilling your dreams and goals. Although I want to say you caught fire with God at 19 and never looked back. And you and I are very similar in that arena because I was 20 and I'm 53 and I never looked back. Okay. So I totally get what you're saying, but you're also communicating that there was a connection here, that when you gave part of yourself away, that there was like a trip around the mountain, again, it's like something that maybe could have been a shorter,
Yes.
right? Took longer. Am I following you? Is that what you're saying?
It is always contrary to what people say,
Yeah.
there is always a price to pay. And though we don't want to believe it, I believe it is so. So instead of growing in my years and developing my mind, I got into boys. I didn't become Deborah. I became who you wanted me to be. I did things I never wanted to do. I went places I would never go. I put up with stuff I never would put up with because I was broken and I didn't heal correctly. And I got somebody that was broken like I was broken. What a mess. What a mess. And so, wait. I tell my children, wait. It's not going anywhere. Babies are not going anywhere. Sex is not going anywhere. Men, women, all that is not going anywhere. And yes, I'll say it's overrated because there is a price to pay.
Yeah.
It would delay you. Oh my gosh. It would take you through things you never. I went through 8 years of marriage. It was oh my gosh, we were. I don't say anymore that it was that person. I was crazy too. I was crazy, right? Because I didn't grow up right. My mind didn't develop. I saw a lot of chaos, so I became chaotic. Come on, somebody.
Right. Yeah.
When you see it, that's who you become, and that's what you attract. And so we got to remember that. Wait, keep your body. It is precious. It is a gift. It is something that should be given only in marriage. I can say that with no judgment because I was a teenage mother. I don't have to have judgment on anybody else because I'm speaking for my life.
I love that. I love that. And I love how you take the time to explain all of those little intricacies because there might be that teenager right now who's listening going, oh, I never thought about it that way. But as a parent or even as a grandparent, having these conversations, oh my goodness, think about the heart-wrenching pain and difficulty that we may be able to help somebody navigate around if we'd have the conversations about things that we don't want to have conversations about, right? It's like, let's not talk about the baby until one's there. Let's not talk about sex until somebody has a disease. Come on. Like, let's have the conversations and be real. And I appreciate you just being candid like that today. Thank you so much.
It's necessary. I used to wouldn't tell people I was a teenage mom because they see me in ministry for 30 years and they saw my grown son now. I'm 50, 34. Add it up. I was a teenage mother. But people don't really see that. Yeah. I don't know why they don't connect it.
Well, they don't. Well, first of all, no, people don't think about it. And they look at you and you're just so vibrant and beautiful and you're very youthful looking and your son probably is too. And so they just don't even think about it until they like do the math. And that time they're just like, oh, well, she's 50, 30 years. Oh, wait a minute. Right? Like you don't have those thoughts. It's different when you're 17 or you're 16 and you're with a child, right? That's different. It's like, it's right here. As we grow older, unless we're communicating these things, people don't realize it as much. But you have the right to communicate this with a loud voice because you've walked it. I know what it's like to marry the wrong person. I know what it's like to get pregnant by the wrong person, but I miscarried. Okay. So on that aspect, I have one waiting in heaven for me that I'm looking forward to seeing her. Okay. But you have walked through this and had to do that kind of that roundabout type of walk to get yourself onto the track of your goals and dreams. And the Holy Spirit, God, he was waiting right there like, okay, here we go. And caught you right up and off you go. But you're saying, hey, I didn't have to do all of these roundabouts if I had just changed something right here. And so God works all things out for good in so many ways. Look at you now, shining for him and being a representative saying, hey, talk to your kids about this. They can wait. And you're so right. They can wait.
I think that's my message as I age. This is so unnecessary. I remember at 40 crying about my life. I remember boo-hooing about something. I mean, crying about it, having a hissy fit with God. And God was like, you got to own your own stuff. God was like, own your stuff. God was like, you want to put everything at my door. Like what you have gone through in your life has been my fault. God was like, no, own your stuff, honey.
Yep, absolutely. And we were talking about that this morning, an early morning class that we were in together. And that's on the mission statement for Lead the Field, is I take full responsibility for my life, my consequences, my mistakes, my inaction or action, my responsibility. No more passing the buck, no more blaming somebody else, right? My responsibility. And although that is sometimes a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? But it is so freeing. It is so freeing once you own it, because then you can decide what happens next. If you're passing the buck, it's his fault, her fault, grandma's fault, grandpa's fault, this, that, the other thing. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're never ready to change, because how can you? You don't have any control. You don't know. It's always somebody else's fault, right? But when you take full responsibility, now you take the wheel. You and Jesus take the wheel. And now we can get her done, which is exactly what it sounds like God said to you. So at 40, you're boo-hooing to God. And he's not saying, there, my little daughter, I'm so sorry. He is saying the opposite, like, are you done yet? Or as Apostle says to me, really, Pamela? God is going, really? Really?
Well, is it my fault now?
It's my fault now? Okay, so what happens at that point? Now, real quickly before you answer that, at this point, had you authored any books?
No.
Oh my God.
I had not authored any books. I did not author books about 4 years later.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so all of this that we're discussing, so you get up into your 40s now.
But I was successful.
You're successful as a businesswoman. From 30 to
40, I made a lot of money in childcare. I was very successful, but I was not happy.
Okay, you were successful. You made money. You're in ministry. You have a business, but inside you were not happy.
I was frustrated.
You were frustrated. And so you come to a place
where I was mad.
And you're boo-hooing to God. Okay, what happens? You're successful. You're boo-hooing to God. Take us to the next place.
I walked away from my center.
What?
When I left childcare, we owned a city. I worked for the center. My husband had left his job. He had been with the state of Missouri for a long time. He left his job. My family worked for the center. God told me to close it. He said, because you didn't obey. You didn't build right. You didn't do it the way I told you. Because you're building with people I never told you to build with. You can have great intentions, but they still can be wrong, right? Sometimes God has given us instructions, what to do, how to do it, who to do it with, but we are thinking that we are helping people. You got to listen. I was frustrating because it was a season of my life. Some things are a season. They don't will be forever. Some relationships are temporary.
Come on.
Not forever. Some situations are for a season to get you from point A to point B. I had to do childcare. I needed the success. I needed to have been able to run a facility on that level, to have run staff and trained and made that type of money to get to who I am today. Yes. It was but it was a stepping stone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a step, but we plan our whole life there, and it's not forever.
Wow, it's a step.
It was a step.
Don't plan your whole life there. That comes back to that statement that Bob Proctor made, and I love this. He says, don't be married to the journey, right? Don't do that. Just date it, right? Like the outcome is your dreams and goals, but we can't be married to how we're getting there. Like, so you were so focused on this being forever, or this is what you were going to be doing, this is it, that you were not hearing anymore. La, 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 not listening, God. You weren't hearing the other things that were being whispered or maybe shouted to your heart until you came to a place where you were so broken on the inside that at 40 you're crying out to God saying, what in the world is this mess? And you're frustrated. So what happened that changed everything? Because I know 4 years later you begin writing.
Yes.
What happens? You had to walk away from the center.
I went back to corporate America.
Corporate America.
I was in culture shock. I went back to a job and they gave me a check and I fainted. I was like, what am I to do with this? What is a check? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Every time I got paid, I cried. I had no concept. Wait a minute, wait. I had made money. I had ran my own business for a decade. I said I would never work for myself again. I'm going to go back to the medical profession. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work 8 hours a day. I'm going to live my life and boom, that's going to be it. It didn't work like that because who I was, though it settled for a minute, I still was not doing what I wanted to do. I settled there. It wasn't what I was supposed to do. I didn't ask God what I was supposed to do. I said, I'm going back to corporate America. I'm going to sit at this job. I'm going to make money, and that's all I'm going to do.
So you didn't answer the call. You were doing...
I was in ministry. My husband had been pastoring, but I didn't answer my call.
The rest of your call, yeah.
I lived everybody else's dream for me, but I never lived Deborah's dream.
Whoa! Say that again.
Say
that again. That's powerful.
I think people don't understand that. I was a teenage mother.
Yeah.
I never thought about what I wanted. I had to finish high school. I had to go to college. Then I married. Then I was divorced with 2 kids. Then a year later, I remarried and I started having more kids. When did I figure out who I was in that?
Whoa.
When? I never did. I was just shifting. But I wasn't growing. When I hit 40, it became painful for me because a lot of the things I had ignored, I had to deal with. I had to deal with me. Yeah. This had nothing else to do with anybody else. I've been married to Apostle Allen. My God, 25 years, phenomenal man. 6 children. That has nothing to do with anybody but my dreams.
Yeah.
I hit 40 and I was like, girl, who are you? I didn't know who I was. A mama. I was a grandmother. I was successful, but I hated my job. Oh!
Right.
Lord Jesus. She said that. Yes.
Yeah. You weren't living the dream. You weren't living the call that God had for you, the full call. You'd not ever known that you could give yourself permission to do it. You just were going through the motions of what you thought you were supposed to do, right? So all of a sudden the miserable comes to the top and you're saying, God, this is awful. Is this all that there is? Really? And he's saying, really, Deborah, no, you're here because you didn't take responsibility for your own life and do the things that I asked you to do, right? And so now you are back in corporate America. You're miserable. You're on the inside. On the outside, it looks great. But on the inside, you are miserable because you're chasing somebody else's dream, not your own. When did that what happened that brought you to that crossroads that you were like, it's time for Deborah now? When did that happen?
God let me frustrate myself enough.
Yes.
God let me frustrate myself enough. And then my husband got sick. And when my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, I said, whoa, you are a woman with all these kids and your husband could die, right? Hey, we're not talking about not faith, but when your husband is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer,
Come on.
the reality of it is they
Yes.
could die. And I said, who would you be if he died? Will you sit here in this chair and cry? And I remember saying, I would not be a pitiful woman. I would not be a woman. We got life insurance, but Dr. Pamela, life insurance is for a season. And I
Right.
remember saying, I got to get back up. But I didn't know what to do to get back up. I was so frustrated. I'm like, I can't sit here though, right? We're rocking ministry. I'm in ministry. I've been in ministry for decades. Oh my gosh. But I hid behind him. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
And so God touched his body and made me get back up. Some things it is God. Sometimes God will box you in where you got to say, oh, I guess I got to get up. Oh my God. And I was like, God was like, what you going to do? You just going to sit there? The man of God need help. You going to get up? Hey, I got to get up. God was like, so
Whoa.
I had to get up because I didn't have a choice. Do I die or do I get up?
Wow. Wow. That is so powerful. So you're in this place, you're not happy, but you just keep going.
I had a beautiful marriage. But I wasn't fulfilled. Women, we do that.
That's right. We do. We
We
put ourselves last. Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't nobody. It was me. Right. And when I say that, people kind of feel like, oh, maybe it wasn't my husband. It was me.
Right. You owned it.
Yeah, it was me.
You owned it.
Everybody, it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you're not living your dreams. I hit 40. I'm like, oh.
So you come to this place now where your husband is diagnosed. Now, we believe in the healing power of God. We know that God works all things out for good for those that love him, and you love him, and your husband loves him. But God uses the situation to get your attention and to get up and to not live in the shadows and to not live dissatisfied and to not just exist. I mean, and again, I want to qualify that because Apostle's doing a lot more than just existing. She's got a powerful marriage, a wonderful family, a fabulous ministry, but yet on the inside, and I can appreciate that because I walked that feeling almost guilty for feeling frustrated and empty because I'm like, I got a great family and a husband that loves me and this wonderful ministry. Why do I feel this in here? Like, and feeling guilty about feeling that way, when what really was going on, right, is the Holy Spirit is not going to let you live in lacks. Not going to let you live in that, well, I'm just going to call it compromise, is not going to let you live in that lower place, because there are people that need to hear what you have to say. There are those lives hanging in the balance waiting for you. So God's not just going to let you just settle there, and he is going to there's going to be frustration that's going to come on you to move, to get out of your comfort zone and go after the call of God on your life. Absolutely. So here, this situation arrives. Your husband is sick. God, and I will say, God will use it. I don't mean that God does it. I mean that God will use it for his glory, because your husband's whole, your husband is healed, your husband's walking in victory, but God used that to get a hold of you, Apostle, and raise you up. Here's my pen. Raise you up to where he saw you. It's like, this is where I see you, but you're seeing you down here and you're just wandering around frustrated. I'm going to use this to wake you up. It was a wake-up call and raise you up. And now here you are, an author, a visionary author, a coach, a motivational speaker, an incredible businesswoman. Now, instead of running a child care, you're running a publishing company. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what came first? Did you end up in Power Voice? Did you write a book first?
I wrote first.
What happened? Okay, tell us what happened.
I cried because I kept saying, well, I don't do childcare anymore, God. What am I supposed to do for money? He said, use what's in your hand. What's in my hand? Oh my gosh. And he gave me the book Fears. I say Fears. And writing reinvented me. Writing opened doors for me. Writing shifted my life. I am a writer. OMG. Go figure. God knew what he was saying. Oh my gosh. He knows what he's doing after all.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Oh my gosh. Writing.
He
invented you.
My books, it did. It healed me. Writing Fears. When I wrote, God said, I feel like the anointing. I could see how the Bible was written. Because as I wrote, I could feel the anointing of God in my hands.
Yes.
And I remember telling God one day, I was writing after I got off work. I was so frustrated. God was like, go write. I was writing. I said, God, I'm an author. He said, yes. Oh my gosh. But he said, but you had to be her to get to this.
In order to be you. Yes.
I still had to take you there to get to here. So I began to write. I began to go on platforms. I began to speak. Then I birthed TV, radio. Then I became a coach. I did the Power Voice. Not only I won the Power Voice with Les Brown, October 2020. I've been on stage with Les Brown. He's forwarded my books. And so it just began to, once you start walking. Not as you sit, as you go. A lot of times we want to sit and cry. No, you have to go. As you go. He said, as you go.
Yeah.
And the doors will open. But you got to go. It just fell into sync. Oh my gosh. I wrote. I started going on stages. I sat on Atlanta Live one night and I remember saying, oh, I could do this. First time I've been on a TV show. I was like, on the stage, I said, I could do this. I have been doing Fierce TV for 3 years.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
I like that you said just keep walking.
Just keep walking.
So it happened as you walked it out.
As I walked. Or ran.
Right. Or took a baby step or even crawled. But it happened as you walked.
As I went.
That's a big revelation, isn't it? It's not by just sitting and planning. I'm all about having a plan, but it is by walking it out. We take a step in his footprint. He takes a step. We take a step. He takes a step. And sometimes we don't have any idea where those footprints are. We just are taking that step, right?
Well, I knew I was going to write a book. Oh.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I had one book in my hand. I had one book. I traveled everywhere with that book. Oh my gosh. Then as I walked, I got opportunities. And God said, go through it. Do it. I became fearless. I had to find Deborah, that teenage mother that fought to live and survive and provide for her and her son. Oh my gosh. I had to find her. I had to get some guts again. Yeah. It was hard getting guts again. It was scary, but I did.
Right.
It was scary.
But you did it. It brought the fierceness out of you. It brought it out.
It made me fight. I had to fight. I chose to fight to live. I said I would not be a pitiful woman. I would not be a woman if my husband was to live here. I would not be able to take care of me and my children. I was like, the devil is a liar. Get your butt up, girl.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Reality came. Get up. Let's go.
And don't you think that's as old can be, but it is a trick of the enemy, isn't it? To have us feel inept, not good enough, and that if we were alone, that we wouldn't make it. Like that we what would we do? And that is such a lie that so many women have bit that lie, hook, line, and sinker, when God wants to utilize their gifts and help them fulfill their dreams and line their pockets with good stuff. Bring in the money, baby. Take care of your family. That they don't have to feel that they would not be able to make it. And so many have bit into that. And I think it drives us right into fear. It drives you right into fear. Like Job, what I feared has come upon me. Right? But you bust right through that terror barrier, that paradigm of that habitual way of thinking. You broke right through that on the other side. And now you are living your dream, his dream, not just living my dream, baby, sipping pina coladas on the beach all day long. You are living your dream of helping serve the masses of people all around you, which is huge. So we fast
the money.
What was that?
I realized you the money.
You're the money.
I thought what I did was the money. God say no. You
are the money.
Are the money.
So that means that what you touch prospers.
Exactly.
Which is why everything
you to make wealth.
Right. That's why everything prospers in our hands. So we put our hands to it. That's why everything you did was prospering. But yet there's a wealthy place.
Yes.
There's the anointed spot where it's, when I say easy, there's still work to do, but it flows, right? It flows. There's the place, the wealthy place. So you get up to 2020 and we have COVID hit. Oh my gosh.
I had COVID. I was one of the ones that they wanted to put on a vent. I remember telling God, I'm not going to die here. I haven't completed my assignment.
So what did you do?
I spoke life into my own body.
Yeah, what did you say?
I told myself, we shall live and not die. I told my body, get up. I was sipping. I'm a long hauler from COVID. I refused to die. I refused to die. I knew I should have died. I refused. God told me to speak over your own life. I refuse. I told God, I will not die here. I will not die in this bed and leave my family unprotected. I will not die here with all the gifts. I'm just beginning to be who you had called me to be. I refuse to die. I told Deb, you can't have me. I told Deborah, get up.
Deborah, get up.
Get up and fight.
Once you pushed through that and you could begin to write again, you could begin to speak again, what was the first project that you grabbed a hold of?
I did so many books. I did anthology. There was an anthology that I was a part of that I was in the middle of pushing when I had COVID. And that's how I got into anthologies. That anthology got me to listening to Les Brown.
Oh my gosh, really?
He forwarded the anthology. He forwarded the anthology. So I was curious to say, who is this? They making a big deal of this man, Les Brown. Let me go listen to him. And when I went and listened to him, God said, sign up. I was like, really? I'm a preacher. You want me to motivational speak? Who does that? God was like,
you do that. You do that. So then you signed up for Power Voice. Yeah.
Oh, like a duck to water. Like somebody took a key and turned it. It was
Mhm.
a piece of me. I have to say it. It's a piece of me
Yeah.
that was missing in me that I didn't even realize it was missing. Oh my gosh.
Right. Right. You didn't even know it until you were in it. Like, oh, this is who I am. This is a part of me.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spoke on the stage with Les in
I
Power
did.
Voice.
Yes.
Whoa, tell us about that on the stage. Les Brown giving his endorsement on your speech in front of
I cried
1,000.
afterwards. Oh my gosh. And my husband, I remember my husband saying, when I was on stage, because it was live, my husband said he could see Les commenting, saying, "You better go, Pastor Deborah." That was like, I am meant to be here.
Yes.
I am meant to, and he cheered for me. It was everything. It gave me the guts to say, I can do this.
Yeah. Yes. I can do this. And you've been doing it. How many books do you have now?
I have 8, 9 books. I am 14-time bestseller, 4-time international bestseller. So I got a couple of books. I wrote a couple of books by myself before I did. I have about 5 books by myself. Then I started doing anthologies. So I made a bestseller by myself first, and then I started writing in anthologies. It just clicked.
Wow.
Writing just kind of clicked. Childcare clicked, but it didn't fit.
Mm.
I was graced to do it, but writing clicked.
Oh, I love that. Writing clicked.
Right.
That's so cool. And now not only are you writing and a visionary author, but now you're coaching people on how to put together a visionary anthology. You have a publishing company. You and I are partnered in our book, Women of Power, Ignited to Serve. Woo!
Global anthology we are doing. We are doing a global
A
anthology.
global anthology.
Global anthology.
All right, talk about that and talk about your publishing company. Come on, let's hear all about it.
When I had the vision to do the anthology, I saw vision for it. And then we come out of inner circle together, thinking to results together. We've done Power Voice. We have been in just together, and we just destiny. I mean, we just collided. I remember you saying, Apostle Deborah, I could come alongside you and run with you with this anthology. And so it made it boom. I had a vision for it, but when you came alongside me, it said boom. It just blew up. And so we've got like 35 authors. I think it is the greatest thing. Our relationship showed me something, because people that are great tend to run along.
Yes.
But to be able to have somebody that can come with you and pace with you. I'm just saying.
I love that. Yeah, that is so good.
It blew up.
Mhm.
We got women in all throughout the US. We got women in the UK, Germany, Australia. Our book is releasing like June 4th. We're going to make bestseller international #1. Why? Because in the last 6 months between me and you, we have written with over 100 women together.
Isn't that amazing?
You were doing your anthologies, I was doing my anthologies, and we just sing together.
And we run together, right?
Seamlessly.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Seamlessly. Because there is no competition. There is no, I'm the boss, you're not the boss. We're seamless.
Yeah, we flow.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah. There shouldn't be competition.
No.
The only person that you should really compete with is yourself, and that's just to be better than you were, better, provide more service, grow, continue to invest in yourself, be the next best version of you. But when it comes to partnering with people, that should never be competition, because that's strife, and where there's strife, there's every evil work. When we have unity, in that community, God blesses it. And yeah, it's been amazing. These authors in Ignited to Serve, wow, they all have stories. And there are stories just like you out there, audience. Your story matters. These stories of these women, so powerful. And you know, when you just look at some of them, you would think, yeah, they're powerful. But then there's other ones that you would look at and you go, oh, well, they're just so cute and so little, or so petite, or they're just older, or whatever. You probably think they don't have any story. Let me tell you, these are the real Amazon women. Come on.
Bad girls.
Yes, yes, they are. And they have written about how their story ignited them like a fire to change the world. And that they're not just it's ignited to serve, but what does that mean? It means to pick up and answer the call, right? And to change the world, no matter what you run into, what those hiccups, what those things are. We are going to change the world together. We're better together. We're world changers together, ignited to serve. And hearing their stories and getting to know them and the sacrifices that they have made, it's amazing. And our authors are featured authors. Oh my gosh, Jerisha Moore. Woo!
Yes.
Dawn Leek. Oh my gosh, we love you, Dawn. And Renee Huffman. Oh my gosh, these women.
Powerhouses.
Powerhouse.
In their own right.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So that is launching on June 4th.
June 4th. I've been doing anthologies. God was like, you doing all these anthologies, but you're doing most of the work. Publish your own books. I say, oh gosh, really, God, oh gosh, oh gosh. I have self-published one book. That was the first book I ever made bestseller with. And then God told me to Igniting the Flame Publishing. And it launched during the time that we are in our anthology.
Yep.
We work with John Tellerico and Thinking to Results. We are in community together. We are doing great things together. We all are connected. And then he calls and say him and Les Brown is doing an anthology. And could I publish it? Oh, him and his fiance was like, we want you to come be the publisher. Me and Dr. Pamela have helped run this anthology. We are featured authors in the greatness in you anthology. Let's go. And they're not exactly the first, because Women of Power Ignited to Serve will be the first book I published, and then their book will be the second book I published. And we got about 35 authors with John Tellerico and the legendary Les Brown, and me or you are running together in that anthology. We are helping with the authors, the coaching, the setting up, and the call for authors, and seamless. We just click.
When you own it and you say yes, and you're willing to do the work, I just want us to look backwards for a moment. She has a publishing company, and she already has 2 really incredible books. One that's about to be published June 4th. Another one coming the end of the summer. That's Les Brown's book. Hello. That is going to be huge for your publishing company. Plus, you have other people reaching out now saying, hey, would you publish for me? You've done this, you're helping with that anthology. We have our anthology. You've had so many other anthologies before that. You've spoke on the stage with the legendary Les Brown. You have many books that you have authored. You're going to Chicago to speak at an event about relationships. You're asked to come and do that.
Yes.
All because at 40, when you were wham, as we all have done, come on, God struck a chord in you. And a few years later, you said yes to the rest of your best of your life. And now look at all the people, because you're still an evangelist is out reaching the people. An apostle is out working for the people. And a prophet is out instructing the people. And the teacher is out teaching the people. And the pastor is out shepherding and taking care of the people. You're still doing all of that on many different arenas now, all these different orbits, because you said yes. And you said that the minute you said that, especially with writing, that it clicked. And so to everybody watching here today, this is how it clicks. Look at what has happened in, talk about God and the universe loving speed and things just aligning and falling into place in what,
4 years.
4 years? 4 years.
4 years.
Look what the Lord has done, right?
4 years.
Look at what the Lord has done because you said yes, Apostle. What an inspiration you are to so many to just say yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us anything else that you need to, that you're like, oh, I wanted to share this, and tell everybody how to connect with you. And you know, if you connect with this woman, because she is just ideas popping like popcorn all the time, and her heart is pure gold. And she's a powerful, anointed woman in her own right in many ways. So you're going to want to connect with her. So go ahead, Apostle, tell them how to reach out to you.
I would say one thing: bet on you. Never give up on you. I can hear Les Brown say, there is greatness in you. And so I want to say, there is greatness in you. Sometimes you got to fight to birth it, but it's there. You can reach me social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Deborah Allen Fierce. That's easy. My website, DeborahAllenFierce.com. My email, DeborahAllenFierce@gmail.com. And so if you just do Deborah Allen Fierce, you will find me. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as email and website. And that just make it easy across the board.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Apostle, you are a dear friend and such an inspiration to myself. I am so privileged to run seamlessly with you. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing a little bit more, peeling back the layers a little bit, unpacking your story a little bit more for all of us to hear. And of course, shining the light on Ignited to Serve and all those amazing authors and the greatness in you, Anthology, Mr. Brown and Mr. John Tallarico's compilation that we all get to be a part of. You are a huge blessing in the earth. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
Dr.
What a time.
It was such a great time. And we want to thank all of you for showing up today. I know that if you're like me, like notes upon notes upon notes, right? You got some notes today, and you can go back and re-listen. And so I would love it if you would do us a favor. Don't you think that Apostle Deborah's story needs to be viral? It does. And you can make that happen for her. You can make that happen for us. We're going to say what our mentor, Les Brown, says. Like it and share it. Like it and share it.
Like it and share it.
Like it and share it. And you can do that and change somebody else's world out there. You can send it in an email. You can post it on your social media. There's many ways to get this story out. And you know what? Somebody you know needs to hear this message. So again, thank you for tuning in to Right Now. Right Now. Remember, you are here on purpose. With a purpose, by design, not by default. So go on out there and be the salt and the light everywhere you go. See you next time.
Pamela Hinkle is the founder of the Purpose Center. Pamela is a mindset mentor, author, speaker, minister, and transformation coach. Her weekly podcast, international radio show, and television show are a lifeline that changes lives and inspires people to discover their individual potential through realizing their purpose by design. Pamela is a natural motivator and has shown many how to find their niche and transform their lives. Although success is an uphill battle, Pamela gives the necessary strategies to flourish, cheering you on every step of the way. Pamela shares from her personal experiences, education, and life as a woman in leadership, utilizing decades of knowledge. Taking the approach of, let's have coffee and chat, she will awaken your dreams and purpose by design. Are you ready for Pamela to help guide you? Email us at purposewpamela.office@gmail.com or go to her website at purposewithpamela.com.